Welcome to the Locked In Baseball Podcast. I'm William Locke. He is Luis Barranco. It is Monday morning, June 15th. Another weekend of baseball is in the books. An outstanding weekend of baseball is in the books. Luis, how's it going?
William, it's been a weekend in baseball, a weekend in sports in general. World Cup's in full effect. I got the Netherlands hype song stuck in my head now. NBA Finals, Knicks are now the champions. And in the baseball world, we have a lot of news to talk about. Before we start off today, make sure you give us a subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok. William is dropping the content hot and heavy, like fresh bread, better than your best friend's sourdough bread that's getting dropped. I don't know if that made sense, but you know what? We'll just go with that. And make sure you follow us on Twitter/X. William, what a weekend it's been, man. We're a little bit away, like less than a month away from the All-Star break. And I think we got the award races heating up. Beginning off with Jacob Misiorowski this weekend. It might be over in the Cy Young, William. We might already have the Cy Young race done and dusted here on June 15th.
Yeah, Misiorowski was incredible on the weekend. I don't want to say the Cy Young race is over. I think it's too early to declare it over, but I think this weekend, the second weekend in June is kind of the moment that maybe in November when this award is handed out, we can look back on and be like, that is the weekend that Misiorowski passed Sanchez. Because I do think Sanchez had the lead heading into this weekend over Misiorowski slightly. But Misiorowski on Friday, I mean, talk about a performance. One of the best pitching performances, honestly, in the history of the game. I mean, 9 innings, 1 hit, 0 earned, 15 strikeouts, 95 pitches. It was a Maddox. It was the most strikeouts ever in a Maddox. He hit 104.5, which was the fastest pitch ever recorded by a starter. 58 of his 95 pitches were over 100 miles an hour, including 4 at 104 miles an hour. Again, like I'm kind of just running out of words to describe how great Misiorowski has been. And you bookend the series, which the Brewers won 2 out of 3 on Sunday, with the Brewers getting to Sanchez. You know, he went 5 2/3, 8 hits, 4 earned, and 1 walk. So, you know, he wasn't his normal self. Obviously, he had the great May where he was absolutely lights out. And Misiorowski was absolutely lights out in May as well. But Sanchez had that scoreless inning streak. And now, you know, they're both Misiorowski has 14 starts, Sanchez has 15 starts, and you're looking at Misiorowski with a 1.34 ERA and Sanchez with a 1.82 ERA, and Misiorowski is leading in F4. Now it's very close, but you know Misiorowski leads in pretty much every main category: K per 9, strikeout rate, expected ERA, which is not like something that you would look at for the Cy Young, but he's still leading in expected ERA. He's leading in FIP. I do think, now it is Misiorowski. He has one less start, but he's been statistically the better pitcher this season.
I mean, right now, I mean, you talked about the Jacob Misiorowski, and like on what he did on Friday was absolutely nuts. Jacob Misiorowski has become absolutely must-watch television when he's on the mound. As you said, 58 pitches of his 95 pitches were over 100 miles an hour, including 4 at 104, induced 25 swing and misses. Like, these are just like video game numbers. Like, these are just creative player numbers on a game. And, you know, when you look at his starts throughout the year, the season more so, he's only really had one start where he wasn't just good. And good to Jacob Misiorowski standards is allowing 3 earned runs, which was in Boston when he played the Red Sox and Boston April the 7th. And since that start, he allowed another 3 earned to Pittsburgh. And then after that, since that Pittsburgh start, April 25th, he has been lights out, only allowing 2 earned runs to this point of the season. The 4-seam slider, curve, cutter, changeup mix. I don't know. We've talked about it a lot. It's just hard to hit when you have 104. I think hitters are used to hitting 100 and maybe 101, but when you're consistently flowing 104 and 103, those mid 100s, I just think that just like from a focus level on a hitter, I think it's just tiresome. How do you like lock in? Like not how do you lock in, but more so it's just like it's consistent. It seems like every Friday night that Jacob Misiorowski pitches, like he's just gonna do something ridiculous. Like the Yankees start, this start. Like Friday nights are reserved for the Miz. So, that's just one of the biggest things that we got going on. Just Friday nights are reserved for the Miz.
Yeah, he turns it on in these big market games. He had some quotes on Friday night after it where, there is a little bit of extra adrenaline for him in these games against the bigger market teams. His family actually came up, his mom on Friday. I guess they were down in Kansas City and they decided to make the drive up for the game. Turns out they made a really good decision, got to witness his best start. He hadn't gone, I think, deeper than 7 innings in a game before. And obviously he went the distance, 95 pitches. He's thrown more than 95 pitches in the game. I believe his career high is in the 100s somewhere. He was well past that. And I'll, be curious to see how he holds up over the course of 30 something starts is what everyone kind of hopes he gets to this season. But he is must see TV. And to be honest, I think we're witnessing the modern day Randy Johnson. I think we're witnessing the next generation Randy Johnson. Miz is throwing 103, 104 miles an hour in the 9th inning of games. Randy Johnson was throwing, as high as 102 in his prime. But when he was in his prime, the average fastball velocity was around the 88 to 92 miles an hour mark. So he was throwing 10 to 14 miles an hour faster than everyone else. Now, Misiorowski isn't throwing that much harder than everyone else, but, the average fastball velo is mid to upper 90s now. It seems like everyone's throwing in that range. And, he's in an era where velo is king. He is the velocity king. He's throwing harder than everybody else, which makes it all the more impressive. And, I think what really separates Misiorowski from the rest of, these elite pitchers in the league and what separated Randy Johnson as well in his day is they both had that intimidation factor. Miz is 6'7", Johnson was 6'10". They both have insane extension on their pitches because they're so tall, which makes their pitches appear even faster. So not only do they throw, or in Johnson's case, did he throw much faster than everyone else, but they're also super tall and have that extension where it's coming on to the hitters a lot faster, and it's almost impossible to hit. Both throw, much harder than everyone else in the league. Both have wipeout sliders. Randy Johnson's career walk rate was 8.8. Misiorowski is right in that range as well through his first season and a half. I think what made Johnson a little bit different is he did lead the league in walks 3 separate times. And what made him so intimidating was also the fact that he was genuinely, truly wild. He led MLB in hit by pitches twice, was always throwing behind batters over their heads. It was just terrifying for a lefty. Misiorowski doesn't have that. I think his control is a little bit more dialed, but I do think he has that intimidation factor more so than a Paul Skeens. Cam Schlittler's pretty tall. But more so than some of the other top pitchers like Tarik, Skubal. Obviously, you're scared when you come up against them, but I think Misiorowski just has another level added to him because of his physical appearance. They both debuted in their early 20s as well, him and Johnson. And you look at Misiorowski in his last 8 starts, he's 7-0 with a 0.17 ERA, 80 strikeouts, and 9 walks. 105 batting average against, only 2 extra base hits allowed. It's the lowest ERA over any 8-game stretch in MLB history. What this guy's doing is historic, and I do think the Randy Johnson comparisons are there. I know people will probably throw out Nolan Ryan because he was a famous flamethrower. He leads MLB historic all-time walk leader. I just think Randy Johnson, because of the appearance, is maybe more of the apt comparison. But man, both are historic. Obviously, Miz has a long, long way to go to get to what Randy Johnson was. Hall of Famer, one of the best pitchers ever, finished second all time in strikeouts. But early, he's kind of on that trajectory, I think, right now, which is, all the more reason why you got to tune in for this guy every single start.
Well, right now, my biggest concern is, like you said earlier, is, again, I think I'm going to beat this. I'm not trying to be negative Nancy out here on the pod today. But again, last year in his first MLB year, he pitched in 15 games. And that was a full season half a season last year. We're already at 14 in 2026. So I don't know. I'm concerned. I don't want him to get hurt. I'm concerned how they're going to manage him. It is June 15th, and we're already up to 14 games, which is one off of his career high that he's pitched. So let's see how he gets managed by the Brewers. Let's play a game, William.
Okay.
2 games. Number 1, Who would you rather build a rotation around? Paul Skeens, Cam Schlittler, or Jacob Misiorowski?
Unfortunately, I think Schlittler is third here just because of the age. He's older than the two. Off the top of my head, I think Skeens and Misiorowski are similar in age. Oh, man, that's tough. That's tough. Okay. If we're talking long term, I think I have to go with Paul Skeens. And it's because he has, like, as amazing as Misiorowski is, he definitely relies a lot on that fastball. And what happens with him when maybe the velo ticks down a bit and he's into his 30s and has to become more of a pitcher instead of just a blow it by everybody type of guy? I think Paul Skeens has more answers than just gunning it past people. Obviously, Misiorowski has the slider and he has his height and everything, but I would probably go Skeens, but it's very close. You can't go wrong with either. Every team in the league would love to have Misiorowski or Skeens, obviously, in their rotation, but I would probably lean Skeens. I don't know. What about you?
I kind of lean Skeens too, because again, he has more more of an arsenal. You got the splinter, the fastball. There's more toys. Like you said, he has more toys to get you out. Even though Misiorowski's stuff is really good. And on to the age point, Skeens and Misiorowski are both 24, and
Okay.
Cam is 25. And honestly, I like Cam a lot, but the thing is, again, he's one of those guys, like, his toys are limited. All of his toys come off of the fastball. The fastball is the king. If it's not the fastball, he's going to get you out with the sinker, and if it's not the sinker, he'll come in with a cut or two seam that he has going around for him. So that's just my thing. Everything kind of like revolves around that. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, and the thing also with Misiorowski and Schlittler is we haven't seen them go 30 starts at the big league level yet. We had Skeens do that last year, won the Cy Young. Now, the Pirates did limit his innings last season. And, this will be the first year, probably because they'll be in contention, where the Pirates push him maybe around the 200 innings mark. I don't know. So all three of these guys haven't necessarily been workhorses. Again, we were talking about it last week, the all-time strikeout leaders, because Scherzer hit 3,500, but you're looking back on some of these old school guys like Walter Johnson threw like 317 innings in a season, just totally different. Nowadays, if a guy gets to 200, it's like, oh my gosh, what a workhorse. But it's just obviously a totally different game, and these guys are throwing so much harder. The wear and tear on the arm is way different. It'll be interesting to see, because a lot of the Misiorowski detractors that I see in our comment section on social media be like, oh, this guy's Tommy John waiting to happen. Obviously, it's impossible to predict. I don't see it. But then again, who knows how long you can be throwing 105 miles an hour. It's not a natural motion.
No, but that's the thing that everybody says. I feel like Tommy John surgery is like, oh, he throws over 100. I think Tommy John's like the natural, it's like a cop out at this point. I feel like that fans use. And it's kind of like getting annoying to the point that it's just like, okay, we get it. You just have to get managed. I mean, why don't we see the same things getting thrown out for Schlittler? Schlittler is in the same boat with, Misiorowski too, that, I was looking up his stats right now. Last year, he pitched 14 games. He started 14 games in the regular season, excluding postseason. And now he's up to 15, and it's June 15th. So that's the thing. William, I'm going to ask you a question here before we move on. Obviously, a great series win for the Brewers. And again, I think this Brewers team is different this season. Before I get into the next two exercises I want to get into, when you look at last year, did they really have an ace? They didn't. I think we can both argue that Freddie Peralta is a damn good pitcher, but I think he's more of Freddie Peralta is a number 2 pitcher on a contending team, or even number 3 on a World Series team, or a 1B. Now that Misiorowski is here, I think that they have clearly a 1A superstar pitcher to combine with guys like Jackson Chourio, who, Jackson Chourio is going to, is getting better. He had a good series this weekend. And, for as much as we want to, put the Dodgers as the champs, I mean, the Brewers still do the right things, the small things right. And they have a good youth that are, a good mix of youth and vets that are going to mix in, can make a run for it. I mean, you got Contreras, Yelich, and Chourio, and then Bryce Terang. So, I think this is a little bit of a different Brewers ball club in that sense. next two exercises with you. Oh, you have something to say regarding
Yeah, I was
that?
just going to say, it does feel different this year. I want to see them be aggressive at the trade deadline. Agreed that they have an ace. You know, we don't have to go through the exercise, but for the listeners, like ask yourself, where would Freddie Peralta slot in the Dodgers rotation? And then now ask yourself.
I don't think he slots in anywhere in the Dodgers rotation. Is he? No offense. I do think he's a good pitcher, but you look at him. Is he? Oh, we'll just do the exercise quickly. He's not better than Yoshi. He's not better than Shohei. He's not better than Glasnow. Not better, but I'd rather have Glasnow and I'd rather have Snell. And then it's coming down to Clayton Kershaw or one of the younger guys. And I think at that point, I don't know if it's even worth it. I think you just have one of the
Kershaw's
big boys pitch a.
You mean last year?
But last year, I think you just have one of Yoshinobu or Shohei pitch again twice in 4 days. You know,
right? Exactly. And then you ask yourself the same question: where does Misiorowski slot in the Dodgers rotation? And he's the game one starter. You can make the argument for Yamamoto, but he's undoubtedly ahead of everyone else, and I would put him ahead of Yamamoto.
Not Shohei.
I put him ahead of Shohei.
Okay. Well, let's do this. Let's bring it out this year. Let's do the NL Cy Young ladder. William, top 5. Let's go.
Off the dome, Misiorowski, Sanchez, probably. I know Kyler Harrison had the blow-up start in Las Vegas, but I don't count that against him. I'd have him in that conversation. Skeens is still in the conversation. You know, Skeens, for as kind of up and down as he's been this season, I think you can slot him in there. Chase Burns has fallen off. I'd probably put Chris Sale. So I would go Misiorowski, Sanchez, Skeens, Harrison, and obviously I forgot about Ohtani. Misiorowski, Sanchez, Ohtani, Skeens, and then Sale or Yamamoto.
I'll take Misiorowski, Sanchez. Misiorowski, Ohtani, Sanchez, Harrison, Skeens.
Okay.
That's what I would do. But again, what a weekend for Milwaukee this weekend. I mean, what can we say? I mean, Jacob Misiorowski is much watched television. William, let's go down to the South Side. Were you able to make it out this weekend to the South Side of Chicago?
I was not, but I'm going to the Yankee game at the end of July, so we'll be able to catch a game this year.
Perfect. The White Sox played the Dodgers this year. Funny enough, don't the Yankees play back home versus the White Sox today?
Starting Tuesday, but yeah, they do.
3-game set, yeah. But the White Sox faced the Dodgers, and the White Sox won 2 out of 3. William, the White Sox have clearly arrived. I mean, it's time to, we've been talking about it on podcasts, but I think it's time to finally put them at the table of AL playoff hopefuls, as they beat the Dodgers on Friday night 8-2. Ohtani was out of the lineup. Roki was not great. He went for 7 earned and 4 1/3. Sunday, the White Sox won 6-4 in a bullpen day. White Sox finished the homestand against the Braves and the Dodgers 4-1, which if you would have told me that at the start of the week or at the start of the month where we were putting up the white flag for the White Sox, knowing the month of June that they had ahead, we would have been, shocked. And now they're 20-4 over the last 24 at Rate Field. This team is a good ball club. Saturday, we'll talk about the Dodgers. They won 7-1. Yamamoto had a perfect game bid, which Mookie gave up had an error that gave up in the 8th, which gave up the perfect game. He went 8 1/3 with 1 earned and 7 strikeouts. But William, this is a brand new ball. Here, as you see, Mookie screws up the shortstop thing right here. But William, as you can, the shortstop blunder right there. William, as you can see, the White Sox are a different team, and it's coming from guys that we talk about. Colson Montgomery, Sam Antonacci had a homer yesterday. Chase Mydroth. These dudes are playing good ball. One guy I do want to highlight again is Miguel Vargas. This is probably going to be one of the bigger all-time blunders for not I don't want to say all-time, but blunders of the past couple of years to the Dodgers. Miguel Vargas' MLB rankings among third basemen. He's first in runs, first in homers, first in RBIs, first in walks, first in on-base percentage, and first in OPS. He is making a clear case to be the starting third baseman in the AL for the All-Star game now that J-Ram is out. But you
And
would never guess that Miguel Vargas would be in these combos.
which Dodgers trade was he in? I can't remember. Was it the Lance Lynn deal?
He was like in some throwaway trade. Like they just like chucked him in there, you know?
There were a couple deals that they had with the Dodgers, neither of which worked out with the Dodgers. But yeah, he's been a
Kopech Tommy Edman trade.
okay. So that deal did work out for the Dodgers. Tommy Edman, NLCS MVP in 2024. He's still injured. They haven't seen him this year.
But really, does it work out? I mean, he has the MVP, but he's been hurt. That's the problem.
Yeah, but I mean,
the best attribute you have is availability, and he hasn't been available. There's always something, even in the last run. Oh, he can't play the center field that much because he has the ankle surgery. He's coming back from ankle surgery. So, I mean,
I think I don't know. The MVP in the NLCS carries a lot of weight in my book. That said, on the White Sox, they're legit. I think this past week has proven that they need to be taken seriously in the American League. And one other guy that's been playing really well is Jacob Gonzalez, former first-round pick out of Ole Miss, 15th overall in 2023. Really struggled in the minor leagues last year, made some adjustments over the offseason, worked with the coaching staff, and he's been good since getting called up. There's a really, really good deep dive in The Athletic that I recommend reading this morning. I read it before we came on today by Keith Law, just deep diving all of the changes that Gonzalez went through with the coaching staff over the winter. And he's a different hitter. And he's saying could be like 20 home run upside with this guy. So that's another young piece that they can add to their arsenal. And look, I mean, Colson Montgomery had some good quotes after the game on Sunday. He said, you should stop thinking of us as a surprise just because we are consistently winning, consistently in every game. It doesn't matter what it is. We're not going to overlook them. Or it doesn't matter what team it is. We're not going to overlook them. We're going to play our ball. Those days of being a surprise are kind of over. They're 9-5 since the Murakami injury. It's a question of, do they become sellers at the deadline? Or sorry, do they become buyers?
I mean, I don't want them to buy. I really don't. I want them to be cautious buyers because I think they have something really good going, and I don't want them to disrupt I think that they have a really nice locker room. They look like they have fun, man. Like you look at the celebrations and everything they got the wand thing going on. It just looks like they just have something really good going, and I just don't want them to disrupt anything. And I think teams of the past have shown to be cautionary tales in the sense that we've seen teams like the White Sox, which are ahead of schedule, a year or two ahead of schedule, and then they go to the deadline because they see that, they can make the playoffs, and they go buy. And then, they miss the playoffs by a few games or they make it and they get bounced early, which is great. But then the next year they come back, everybody regresses back to, normal, and, they're not as good as a team as they are. And I really don't want the White Sox to go out and just completely buy and completely just nuke their own farm system for the sake of just making the playoffs. Right now, as it stands, let's just look at, take a inventory of the AL. The AL East sucks. The Rays are probably locked in, and I think the Blue Jays, they've been kind of 500S baseball. I think they will make it. So that leaves about one spot left, and that will be between the Central, which right now the Tigers need to make a huge run, which, again, I would put more money on the White Sox playing 500 ball rather than the Tigers playing 70% good ball. And then you have the West, which the West is just going to cannibalize itself between the Mariners, A's, and Rangers. And if you had to tell me who would I prefer over the White Sox, A's, and Rangers, I would prefer the White Sox. I think the White Sox are clearly the better team between the three.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they should buy. I think they should kind of ride the wave. And I do think Getz is going to be level-headed. There was an article in The Athletic a few weeks back basically talking about how we realize we're ahead of schedule. We don't want to kind of get outside of the plan, basically. And I think they're going to stick to the plan here. They got a good thing going. It's good vibes. The rate is packed every single night now, which is incredible to see. Tickets are kind of expensive now. It's kind of hard to get in there compared to what it was the past few seasons. Also, shout out to Will Venable. Great manager. I think he's done a really good job over there. I think they should kind of just stick to their guns. They're 6 games over 500. They've been playing well without their best player in Murakami. Yeah, don't upset the apple cart. And also, like, I think you also have to do the exercise of who in the American League, if they play them in a playoff series, let's say a 5 or 7 game set, like, are you picking them over the Yankees in a series? No chance. No
Well,
chance.
I'll see them tonight. We'll see them. We'll see them tomorrow night. We'll see how they do in New York. And I think tomorrow is going to be a good exercise to see him against the Yankees on the road. It's going to be at Yankee Stadium. You know the Knicks fans. The city's going to be pretty hot, so the stadium environment's going to be pretty wild tomorrow night. So I'll be interested to see how they play and see how it goes. I mean, it's great when you win at home, but playing at home, we know they're a great home team, as you've mentioned there. 24 and 12 at home and 14 and 20 on the road. Let's see how they play. And going to that exercise, okay, we'll see about the Yankees. I think they can beat the Rays. They can have the right balance. I think the Rays in the right circumstances they could. Not saying they will. I think they could. And then when you look at the West teams, if they have to go to Seattle, as bad as Seattle has been this season, played 500 baseball, I don't like their chances on the road in Seattle. Having to travel out there to Seattle. And then I think you can get at the Jays, and that's the only teams that I look at like contender. Maybe the Guards, and at that point, the Guards are in division. Could they beat the Guards? Yeah, but I kind of lean on the Guards being that in division foe that they've just been there.
Yeah, they have the playoff experience. Obviously, you're going to need J-Ram back. We'll talk about him a little bit later. Right now, I would view, because of the injury to Ramirez, I would take, and we should consider, I think, the White Sox the favorite in that division with basically just over half a season to go. Lot of season left, and I just don't know if I trust the pitching staff when we really get into like a playoff series. The fact that we're even having this conversation kind of speaks to how far they've come this season, that we're saying, how do the White Sox match up in a playoff series against the Yankees, against the Mariners, against the Guardians? I think that conversation, the fact that we're having it, should make White Sox fans excited. Look, they're facing Garrett Cole tomorrow against Davis Martin. That's a great matchup. They're facing Carlos Rodon on Wednesday, and Thursday it's Ryan Weathers. And they got Anthony Kay and Sean Burke. So it's the White Sox top 3 against, a good Yankee set of 3 pitchers. It's going to be a good series.
And the Yankees are battling some injury, which we'll talk about next. But the one thing before we go on to talk about the AL East race is, William, I'm going to highlight Colson Montgomery, and I'm going to ask you to do another exercise with you. Colson Montgomery leads shortstops in ISO. He is 5th in WAR, leads all shortstops with 17 home runs, and he's tied for 2nd for RBIs next to Bo Bichette. He's right now 3rd in slug. He's definitely doing a lot. And then his defensive rating is number 2 behind Bobby Witt Jr. 2 things. With 17 homers right now in 67 games, do you think Colson gets the 40 this year?
40. That's a lot. I'll say 35. I don't think
35. That's a safe bet. And who is your White Sox rep? If you had to only take one White Sox rep, other than Murakami, which I think it's like the easy one to do, but
they might have 3. I mean, Vargas, 4. I think, is Vargas for sure, Montgomery probably, and Murakami for sure. Who's the 4th?
Davis Martin. You don't think Davis Martin gets the call?
Davis Martin will be an all-star as well. And this is juxtaposed against what we've seen the last few seasons, where we're like, who the heck are we taking from the White Sox? They have very clear candidates this year.
Well, that's the Rockies this year. The Rockies are like, who the heck are they taking? It's Hunter Goodman. I think Hunter Goodman's like the shoe-in. And then because I feel like every other team in the AL, for as bad as the Red Sox have been, I think you can take somebody off the Red Sox. And for as bad as, the Twins will probably just be the Byron Buxton show. And the Angels.
Soriano, Trout. Well, Trout's an all-star.
Oh, yeah. I forgot Trout still plays out there, unfortunately. But but again, the White Sox go to New York today. William, let's talk about the AL East race. I mean, it got tight this weekend. I mean, the Rays had a really bad week last week in which they lost a series against the Angels, 2 out of 3. They start a series up tonight in LA versus the Dodgers. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it goes. They won the Red Sox series, but they play the Angels. They lost 2 out of 3. Got 3 against the Dodgers starting up tonight. And the Yankees had a good weekend. I mean, William, we were both tapped in Friday night watching the game, tapped in along with the Team USA game, and it was an awful night for me because Team USA did win, and the Yankees lost in Toronto. And Toronto for my Canadian listeners. Again, it just seems like Friday night's game, we were just asking ourselves, are the Yankees just cursed at Rogers Center? But they turned it around Saturday. Late game heroics on Saturday by Paul Goldschmidt, 2-run homer off Louis Varland, who, again, I probably jinxed on how good he's been. Hasn't been great lately. They won 3-1. And then yesterday on Sunday's game, they won 8-3. And I think the biggest thing that I'm excited about watching this weekend is it wasn't the usual suspects getting it done. I want to give for as much flack as we give Anthony Volpe, Ali Sanchez. They had great games yesterday. Max Schumann had a little bit of a game this weekend. Jose Caballero. And now look at them, man. They're a game over off the Rays right now. They had a great road series in the sense that they swept the Guardians and they won 2 out of 3. William just played the clip of Ben Rice hitting the homer yesterday in the 9th to go up 5-3. But as I said, they swept the Guards and they got 2 out of 3 against Toronto, shaping up for a nice week. You got Central Block teams. You got the Tigers are next week. You got the White Sox, 3 for the White Sox, and you get 3 versus the Reds, and you get the Tigers, and then you get Boston. Shaping up to be a good 2 weeks for the Yankees. But I mean, William, it was quite refreshing to see a good series win from the Yankees in Rogers Center.
Yeah, well, the way it started Friday, I think everyone in Yankee Nation was like, "Here we go again." It's like that meme. Here we go again. It's always George Springer. It's always George Springer. I mean, I know Okamoto hit the home run first, but then Springer comes up, hits the home run, and you're like, here we go again. Like, this team just can't win in Rogers Center. But they really showed me a lot this weekend, honestly. Some real resiliency to come back, and win these tight games on Saturday and Sunday. Some clutch hitting. Paul Goldschmidt, I mean, can we talk about turning back the clock? This guy has been probably the best value signing outside of Murakami in free agency this winter. That's just off the top of my head, but $4 million. This guy's playing at an all-star caliber level. Hits the home run against arguably the best reliever in baseball this season. Tip of the cap to Goldschmidt. Bednar comes in for the save. And then on Sunday, you mentioned it, look, man, we give Volpe a lot of flack. 2 for 4, 2 ribbies, had 2 big hits in that game. Caballero had the homer. And then Ben Rice, he's been a star all season, but big home run for him. They've won 6 of the last 7. I think they're 7-4, I believe it is, without Aaron Judge in the lineup. They're doing exactly what we've wanted them to do without Judge in the lineup. Other guys are stepping up, and it was a great week. A great week against 2, I think, pretty good teams. I know the Blue Jays just haven't been able to get it going this week or this year, but I still think they're a solid team. I think the Vladdy criticism is flying under the radar. I think he's kind of getting a little bit of a pass with the way he's performed this season.
Finally, you're on that.
And
well, let me just say this: what's up with these Team DR guys going off the Vladdy? If you're talking about Vladdy, what's up with all Team DR in WBC Team DR? I mean, Tatis, Vladdy. You can smash in Duvall in there. Austin Wells. Who else? Manny Machado, Team DR also. The only guy off Team DR, off that WBC Team DR that has played great, 2 guys that I can think off the top of my head. O'Neal Cruz, who's now on the IL with that hand injury, and J-Rod. Those are the only 2 guys off Team DR that have played well.
Soto as well.
Soto is on a career worst pace of on-base percentage.
Yeah, well, he's still having a good season. Vlad has 3 home runs.
But again, he's playing on the Mets, William. What are the Mets doing?
Yeah, the Mets are irrelevant.
The Mets are irrelevant. It doesn't matter if you're freaking hitting 750 if your team's losing. He's literally the definition of the meme of the Bugatti in the trap house right now.
I'm telling you that deal continues to give me Robinson Cano vibes. But look, Vlad has 3 home runs on the season. His OPS is 738, and he's not playing to the contract. He's not playing to the contract. And you know who I really think that the Blue Jays, and we'll talk about him a little bit later, I think the Blue Jays really miss Bichette in that lineup. It just feels like a different lineup without him in there.
I mean, Okamoto's been nice, but I kind of just feel like they need a guy they need that Bichette bat also in the lineup. I don't know what's wrong. I'll keep buying Jays stock because I watched them this weekend, and I like the Jays. I love the pitching, and I love what they can do between Savage, Gosman, and Cease. That's three I don't want to see in the playoffs. So it's good that the Yankees and other teams are beating them up now so you can keep them out of the playoffs, because I think that's a team that you don't want to see in October, because they're just like Cinderella. As long as they got the what is it? Cinderella had the shoe, right?
As long as the shoe fits.
Slipper, as long as she had the glass slipper, as long as she got a ticket to the dance, like they're gonna be competitive. It's like LeBron in the playoffs. As long as they get in, it's gonna be competitive. So it's good, but I mean, I keep waiting for Toronto to hit it. I keep waiting, and I'm still going to wait on them. And I mean, I look at the schedule, and I don't feel like they're worse than a couple teams. Like, they got the Red Sox and they get the Cubs. Those are two series that you should be winning. The Cubs are in Chicago, 120 start at Wrigley. I kind of want to, believe that they can get that series done. And if they don't, that's where we'll have real issues, because I think they'll just be mirror images of each other, the Cubs and the Jays. Two teams that we expect a lot. One has really good pitching and okay hitting, and the other one has great hitting and meh pitching.
Yes.
And I think that's what's going to happen. And so, look, and the Rays, we kind of expected the Rays to show up at some point. We'll see. Big 3 games against the Dodgers this weekend. Thankfully, they don't get Yamamoto. Is it like Wroblewski this weekend?
I thought it starts today.
Yeah, but that's what I meant to say. I'm saying this weekend. I just think that way.
Let's see. They got
Eric Lauer tonight.
Yeah, Eric Lauer, Justin Wroblewski, and then Ohtani on Wednesday.
So the Rays with voodoo magic, getting lucky that they don't have to face any of the Dodgers like decent pitching.
Yeah. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's talk Guardians.
One thing I want to make clear. This past week does not justify the Yankees not doing anything at the deadline. Seeing Ali Sanchez and Anthony Volpe hit this weekend does not give Cashman and any of the executives any pass to say, oh, well, they can hit against big teams. No, we still need a right-handed catcher, and we still need bullpen arms. Camilo Doval and Jake Bird do not need to be in the freaking bullpen on August 2nd.
Yeah,
and that's what we need to remind people of. And maybe an extra infielder, because I can't have, this infield, voodoo magic. Not voodoo magic, infield musical chairs.
And we don't know if we're gonna see Stanton back. He had a setback with the calf this weekend. Don't know what that's gonna look like. That was big news.
Go get Hunter Goodman.
Why would you? That would take a haul.
But he's a right-handed bat that they need.
He is, of course. Now, of course, also the current regime in Colorado didn't draft him. He's not one of their own, so maybe they'd be a little bit more opening to move him than other teams. I still think it would take a huge haul. Young, really good bat.
You want to give Elmer up for Hunter Goodman?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much fair. But regardless,
Cleveland, Detroit.
Go get the right-handed catcher.
Yeah. Cleveland, Detroit. Tarik Skubal returned on Saturday. Wasn't great. 4 2/3, 5 hits, 2 earned, 1 walk, 4 Ks, and a homer allowed in 80 pitches. Guardians won the 2-game set because Sunday got rained out. And unfortunate news for the Guardians here is J. Ram is going to the injured list with a fractured hamate bone. Seems like he's going to be out for an extended period of time. I don't really think they put a timetable on it. So huge loss for the Guardians. And as we mentioned, the White Sox are now tied for first in that division. The Tigers lose this series. They fall to 13 games under 500, and they're 6 back in the wild card right now. They're well back in the division. How do you feel about this injury to J-Ram? Do you think it kind of changes your thoughts on what Cleveland can do in the division?
It does, because with J-Ram, I do feel like J-Ram increases the ceiling of this team. But if we've seen anything about this team this season, is that it's a bunch of the other guys making it happen. Guys like Angel Martinez making it happen. He's been a quiet addition to this one. Bazana, the Lauder. I do feel like those guys have picked it up. J-Ram, obviously not having him hurts, but they've done a lot of the season without him being like typical J-Ram this year. Like the first month and a half, J-Ram started off to a quiet start. So that's also something to factor. But I do understand teams are going to pitch differently. For the best thing for the Guardians is they play in the Central. So I'm going to beat that drum to the bone that these teams are going to keep, beating each other up. So you can be playing 500 baseball, like I always say, you can play 500 baseball all the way until August and September, and then you just have 1 or 2 hot weeks, and you're a division champion. That's just the thing. The one thing of the series that I'm concerned about is like Detroit, man. The clock's about to strike midnight. You guys better get on a run, because then if you guys don't, you're going to have some big decisions up in the next month in July with Skubal. And they said, oh, we're not going to trade Skubal. We're not going to trade Skubal. But yet again, you have to be realistic in the sense that, you are about 10 games back from the division. And yes, the wild card is attainable, but it still takes you being good and still playing up to expectations. And right now, like as they're currently playing, I don't think they have the bats to catch up to an Athletics. They don't have the bats to the Athletics, and then I don't think they can catch up to the Rays. I think the Rays are just a superior ball club from all facets. And then what does that leave? Toronto? I'm sorry, but Toronto will wipe the floor against Detroit.
Right, exactly. Like even if they end up sneaking into the third wild card, what is their ceiling as a team this year? I think their ceiling as a team, based on what we've seen so far, is probably like the DS. And is that good enough for you? Are you willing to hold on to Skubal and not get assets in return to make yet another DS? Because they lost in 5 in the DS last year. And I know everyone will say like, oh, you can get into the playoffs and anything can happen. That's not really the case. Like it's still usually most of the time the best team comes out of the American League, the National League, and plays in the World Series. Very rarely do you have a team like the Diamondbacks from 2023 that finished third in the wild card standings and made a run to the World Series. It's more often than not that, or more rare that does not happen.
The Diamondbacks had signs as well too. Like they had good. They had a star hitter and they had good pitching, decent pitching. I don't like the Tigers hitting at all. Like Riley Green's a good hitter, but is he a star hitter? Kevin McGonigal, he's a good hitter, but is he a star yet? No. I still think that there's too many holes in the lineup.
Right. McGonigal is an outstanding hitter, but he doesn't have the pieces around him. And you need to have that full lineup to maximize the talent even more, in my opinion. I was listening to baseball today on Friday or whatever day. They had an exercise. Which of the 3 do you think is most likely? The Tigers keep Skubal and make the playoffs. The Tigers keep Skubal and miss the playoffs, or the Tigers trade Skubal and miss the playoffs?
How baseball goes, I think it's number 1. Just know how baseball is. But it makes no sense because then again, okay, you'll win a Mickey Mouse wildcard series, you'll upset because you'll have Skubal for one start, and then you're just gonna piece together a second start and have the experience, and then what? Unfortunately, I think last year was the year. That last year against Seattle was the year to get it done, and Skubal's going to go out and get paid this offseason, and it's just unfortunate because when you look at how we looked at this team in preseason with Verlander nostalgia, Skubal potentially last ride, and we know Framber is an absolute bonehead. We still think he's a decent pitcher. He is a decent pitcher. He has the stuff, but Framber signing has gone left. Skubal hurt. Verlander's been hurt. The strength of the team was always the pitching staff, and the pitching staff's been all hurt, and they've dealt with so many injuries. And they already have to combat a bad lineup, above average lineup, not bad, excuse me, but an above average lineup, which to this point it's just not good.
Yeah, they're lacking. I think if I had to make a prediction, I think they keep Skubal and miss the playoffs. The way things feel right now, I think that's what happens.
I am pounding my hands on the table for the Cubs just to trade for Skubal. That just makes so much sense in my head.
I just don't know if that takes them over the hump this season, though.
Wow, it doesn't matter. It's baseball. You get the right bounces. That's the whole thing with the Tigers. You get the right bounces and you make the playoffs, and you win one series, and then congratulations, you're into round 2, and you play the Yankees, and we know how the Yankees can get sometimes in the postseason, where they just forget how to hit.
Not against Central teams.
Well, Well, I remember one night in Cleveland with Jabba Chamberlain. Did you see Jabba is pitching for the Bananas?
I did not see that.
I saw that.
Good for him.
So, yeah.
Let's talk about the other New York team. It was reported this weekend by Bob Nightingale that Bichette is going to opt out this season after his first season in New York. He signed a 3-year, $126 million deal worth $42 million a year, and he had opt-outs after the first and second seasons. It seems like he's going to be opting out, according to Bob Nightingale. Now, the Mets over the weekend, they played the Braves and actually won 2 out of 3. They won 8-1 on Sunday. Great game from A.J. Ewing with the homer. Soto had a good game. Bichette played well on Friday night, 6 ribbies in that game with 2 homers. And yeah, Bob Nightingale is reporting that he's going to opt out. Luis, how do you feel about that? If you look at his numbers this season, he has a 646 OPS with a 239 batting average. Compare that to last season, he had 311 with an 840 OPS. He's fallen off a cliff in New York. And to me, this reeks of one team and one team only, but I'll want your thoughts first.
I have an idea, and I haven't told you this because I've held this close to the test, but I think you already know it. I thought about this like once everything was going around that he was sick of being not sick in New York, excuse me, but he was like feeling the pressure of living up to the contract. For me, what it sounds like he's going back to the Jays next year. Like he went there, got his 40 M's. Didn't work out, didn't enjoy playing in New York, and that's totally okay. A lot of players, New York's one of those places that it's a special place. It takes a special personality. It takes a special type of player to thrive in New York. And honestly, it didn't work out for him this year. And honestly, let's give him a little bit of flack. It's tough with the Mets. Going from a team like the Jays where expectations are high, but the spotlight isn't on you as much as it is in New York. That's one. 2, you're going to another clubhouse that, again, has a lot of moving pieces with the Mets and learning a new position. I just think that there's too many things that he had to overcome in year 1 that it didn't work out. And opting out after 1 year for $40 million when you have 2 more tacked on, letting that money go away, it just sounds like to me that he's just looking for a better situation personally and that he fits in better. And for me, what it sounds like is he's going to go back to Toronto. And honestly, he's played pretty well lately. He's in the past 14 days, he's hitting a 3.33 average. And then in the past month, he's hitting a 280. So he's slowly starting to piece it together. Again, he's playing Bichette, but again, when you look at what the dumpster fire of the Mets is this season, like there's no redeeming qualities.
I agree. I think he's going back to Toronto. That's what I was thinking right away when I saw this news. I liked the signing with the Mets originally. Obviously, it didn't work out. And you look at what Toronto's lineup has been this season. Yes, they have a lot of injuries, but I said it earlier, really do think they miss Bichette in that lineup. I think he probably misses playing in Toronto. It was also just tough for him to leave the Blue Jays after, them being so close to a World Series, and then he kind of just jumped ship. And I don't know, I thought him and Vladdy were kind of meant to be the 1-2 punch there in Toronto for their entire careers. And he makes the mistake going to New York, might get it might be a little bit more of a team-friendly deal with the performance that he put in New York this year. I think kind of the rest of the way, the Mets are probably out of it. So he's playing for that contract that he's ultimately probably going to sign in Toronto. That's kind of what he's looking for the rest of the season. And yeah, I think he's going to end up back in Toronto.
How's it a mistake? He got paid $40 million.
Not monetarily, not financially. I just think from a baseball perspective, maybe it wasn't the best decision.
I think that's what revisionist history tells us right now.
Yes. Of course. If the Mets were killing it and he was killing it, of course we'd say, oh, this is great.
Yeah, and I think the thing is at the World Series. I just don't know. The thing is, I think you say that they missed Bichette, but I don't think Bichette makes you that much better of a 500 ball club. Like right now, the Jays are having a bad season for Jay standards. And okay, you put Bichette, how many games over 500 are they better?
Yeah, I'm not saying
this isn't like an elite shortstop. Like I'm not saying Bichette, and I'll say it right now, Bichette is not a top 8 shortstop in the game. And I can argue 10.
Probably not, but I would like to see him playing second base for them instead of short.
Yeah, but I understand, but is he that good? Like the bat is that good, but is he
the bat is.
But is he that good? I know I'm not very, very verbal right now, but you get the point what I'm trying to say. Is Bo Bichette a that big of a lineup changing bat or just a player that changes your team? And I don't think so. I think he is very good, but I don't think he's a guy that like flips you on his head. Like, yes, he's an impact player, but he's not like an impact bat that you're just like, oh, you add him to a team and you're just like, oh yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't he doesn't give you a World Series. He doesn't take you from a wild card team to a World Series team, but I mean, look where they were last year. They were outs away from the World Series. He was in the lineup for them. He hit a home run in Game 7.
He's the type of player that lifts you to a DS, or wild card to a DS, but wild card to CS or World Series? No, absolutely not.
Whatever.
And I know revisionist history, but regardless. But at the end of the day, William, let's check in on Vegas. What's going on in Vegas, William? What a series it was in Vegas.
Yeah, another ridiculous series. A's win 2 out of 3 against the Rockies. Highlight of the weekend was the Rockies win, though, on Sunday. It was like 103 at first pitch on Sunday in Vegas. The Rockies won the game 23-9, setting the franchise record in runs for Colorado, which says something for a team that plays in Coors Field. Their previous mark was 20, which they set in 2024 against the Red Sox. Willie Castro, 4 for 6, 7 ribby game. He had never had more than 3 RBIs in a game. He had 7 in this one, a 2-homer game for him. Soderstrom homered again. Over the course of the 6 games that the A's played in Las Vegas this week, there were 5 460-plus foot home runs in those 6 games. All other parks combined this season had 3. And there were 102 runs in 6 games. I mean, insanity. And, the new stadium, it's going to be small. It's going to be 30,000 people. It's going to be like 1,000 feet lower in elevation, and it's climate controlled. So the ball won't be flying this way in the new Las Vegas stadium. Again, citing Bob Nightingale, there was an interesting article by him published this weekend saying that players are indicating that they want to play in Las Vegas. From the article directly, he said, this $2 billion joint will be surrounded by an entertainment district along with Bally's Resort and Casino. It should immediately become the ultimate destination for the game's marquee free agents, with players on opposing teams already telling A's players to pass the word they want to come. Let's just say A's president Mark Bedane tells USA Today Sports, we won't have trouble recruiting. Their owner, John Fisher, has told associates that he expects to receive about $500 million in revenue their first year in Las Vegas, which would be the 6th highest in baseball, ranking only behind the Dodgers, Yankees, Cubs, Mets, and Red Sox, according to Forbes. So this seems like this team could be an economic hit playing in Las Vegas. They feel the pressure. They want to live up to the expectations, the way the Knights have played, the way the Aces have played. The Raiders have been a disaster on the field, but financially, they've been killing it with the influx in touristy fans. Celebrities will be there. And then also in the article, it cites that, yes, Las Vegas has the strip and all of that stuff, but it seems like people are saying it's also a good place to live, to raise a family, and in the kind of the part of Las Vegas that's outside of the casinos and the gambling and everything like that. So that adds an interesting dynamic if all of a sudden Las Vegas, the A's become a legit free agent destination.
So, William, Bob Nightingale tweeted last night, the A's have played 28 games in Sacramento this year, and the average runs scored per game by both teams is 10.9. In 6 games in Vegas, the average runs per game is 17. They play again next year for 6. So he says take the over. I find it very interesting that that all of a sudden the A's have money to spend on free agents. Like, where's this money appearing from? Like, where y'all just are. First off, you'll have to build a stadium, which costs money, and now we have the financial means to recruit players. I don't know. Maybe with the salary cap, yes, but I find it very interesting to see. And I'm playing an exercise. I think the episode is going to be called the exercise episode. But what is attractive about Las Vegas? Okay, obviously the climate's not terrible. Yes, it's dry and it's hot, but it's sort of going to be like Arizona. But what's attractive about being in Vegas? Is it the taxes? I don't know. Because if you just want Vegas, you just go play for the Diamondbacks.
I think it maybe has to do with the spotlight that's going to be on the team. The new stadium, the facilities are going to be really good. I mentioned the family aspect. Apparently, they're saying it's a good place to have a family and everything. I don't know.
No offense, but I enjoy Bob Nightingale's articles on Sunday mornings, but they're just pot stirrers comments. They just stir the pot. Like half the things he says are there to stir the pot. Like, oh, we're just going to jab in the Yankees and the Skubal. When you and me both know that the Yankees are not getting Skubal and the Jays don't have enough to get Skubal. Like half of the things, like parts are true. A lot of it is true. I don't give him that, and he may have heard it, but I just think a lot of those articles are there to stir the pot. For me, this just sounds reeks of just the A's putting that out there to say, oh, yeah, like there's a lot of runs being scored and a lot of free agent pitchers. Like, man, pitching there is going to be terrible, and that's going to be terrible. And I think the A's just need positive publicity, and it's like, oh, yeah, players are going to want to play here. I just don't know why we want to play there when there's other options that to play on the West Coast. I mean, the Dodgers, okay, yes. You can go play in San Diego. You can go play in Phoenix. And you can go play on the Angels because the Angels, they actually will spend money. They might stink, but they'll spend money.
It could have been, the article could have just been like a John Fisher propaganda piece. Look, I mean, the A's, why didn't they just play all of their games in Las Vegas over this 3-year stretch, whatever it's going to be, instead of Sacramento? It's kind of
because the games would have been freaking lopsided as crap. It would have been a basketball game, a football game.
Look at the roster. Look at their roster construction, though. They have no pitching. They have a legit lineup. It would have actually suited their team to just play every single game over the last 3 seasons in Las Vegas instead of going to Sacramento. They haven't tried to ingrain themselves in the Sacramento community. They're not even calling themselves the Sacramento A's. They're calling themselves the Athletics. They refuse to identify with Sacramento at all.
When I was out there, there was it's like I didn't see a single piece of billboards of Sacramento of the A's propaganda. I saw River Cats propaganda out there, even the stadium, outside. You know how they have the banners on the light poles? They had Bryce Eldridge, not Nick Kurtz, but Bryce Eldridge, who's now in San Francisco. I think I have a solution with this, William. I hope that if we get realignment, we should get a division. We should get a division with the Rockies, the A's, the Mariners, and Giants, and just let all hell break loose.
The 2 most pitcher-friendly parks in the league, and what would be the 2 most hitter-friendly parks in the league. That would be a fun division. I mean, look, you look at what the A's did this week. They beat the Brewers in a series in Vegas, and then they beat the Rockies in a series. I know the Rockies stink, but they beat the Brewers, one of the best teams in baseball, in a 3-game set. Pat Murphy was singing their praises over the weekend. So,
hey, I like what they're building. They just need pitching again.
Yeah.
Hopefully they make the playoffs. I think it would be fun to see a game in West Sacramento, a playoff game. I think that'd be MLB's worst nightmare, but I would love it.
Yep, that would be. Let's keep it moving. Blaze Jordan made his MLB debut this weekend, Luis. He was a former kind of prodigy in high school. He is from Memphis. I actually played with his brother growing up. So I remember Blaze was always kind of like the younger brother that got dragged to the games. And it's cool to see him make his debut for the Cardinals. Had a really good weekend, too. Homered on Saturday, which I'll play the clip now. I have it up here. Homered on Saturday, 3-run shot, first MLB home run. Great moment for him, his family. Great family, by the way. I remember when we were playing in travel ball back in the day, family invited everyone over to their house for, a team get together. They would always do stuff like that. Very nice. So very happy for him. And I think he could be another legit piece for the Cardinals down there in St. Louis. Another young piece.
And William, you can verify this for me. Again, I remember Blaze. I remember because I'm a draft head. I look at the clips and everything and whatnot. And seeing that he's from back home, I naturally gravitated, as we say, we gravitate towards the local products. And I remember he was kind of like the next up guy. He was in many of the mocks in the first round. One of the bigger guys coming out in his year. And I believe he came straight out of high school. He went to DeSoto Central, correct?
Yeah, he went. Yeah.
He was a Vandy commit.
No, Mississippi State
commit, and he ended up going second round in his year again. And he went through the Red Sox. And I think it was, again, a guy that we always knew could be a great player. Boston's a tough place. And he said that he battled with depression and anxiety, got traded. I think he was in the Dustin May trade last year. And
even worse, he was in the Steven Matz trade.
Even then, it doesn't matter. I think we all knew that the talent level with him was there. And it's just good to see a guy, who's battled through a lot, get it together. And I think he could be a piece out there for the Cardinals. And I think, you and me both know we've seen the clips in high school, and you've you've known more about him with his brother and everything that he was at one point like top 10 in the draft at one
Yeah.
point, like, you know.
Yeah, he was a prodigy. He was. And he won the home run derby, like the high school home run derby in Cleveland, like during the All-Star game. I think they did that home run derby like during a commercial break during that on that night. So yeah, it's really cool to see him. I think he's only like 23, make his MLB debut. And I think one of my favorite things about baseball, I think something that baseball offers that other sports don't, is you get to see these parents when their son is making their MLB debut. Like this weekend, you had Braden Montgomery. His whole family was in attendance when he had the walk-off home run against the Braves, and they pan to the crowd and their family's just going crazy. Or even if it's just a regular debut and a guy's coming up for his first MLB at bat, you see the family; they're emotional. You can really it's pure joy on their faces, and as a fan, I don't know, it makes you happy to see stuff like that. You kind of envision like, what if my son made it to MLB, and what would it be like with my family? And you don't really get that in the NFL and the NBA. You never see that. I think it's something that makes baseball unique. And you had it this weekend with Blaze Jordan, his family in attendance. I don't know. It's really cool to see that kind of stuff. And I think it sets baseball apart.
It's a dedicated spotlight, William. Again, when the hitter is up to hit, it's all eyes on you. It's like the pitcher, all eyes on you. In football, you're on a team of 53 guys, which a lot of these times that are debuting, a lot of times, obviously your big name guys are going to be out on the field, but you don't know when your son's going to come out, if he's like a swing tackle or he's a fifth DB. It's, here you got a dedicated spotlight, all eyes are on you, and it's good to see. I think he could be a piece, man. Clear one way at third base for him to play. Blaze, Nolan Gorman right now is in the first percentile of width, fifth percentile of strikeout rate, and fourth percentile of expected batting average. And it's just good to see a guy, like we said, Blaze has been a guy that we, been really good in high school and struggled a little bit in the majors. And, a lot of times, baseball is one of those games, as we talk about. It'll humble you real quick. Not saying for him that he was a hothead, but it's one of those that, a lot of times these players are really good at high school, haven't really struggled growing up. And, they get up to the major league level and they start struggling, and you got to find yourself and you got to dig deep. So it's good to see him, come out the other side and be on the MLB roster. On the series, Twins won 2 out of 3. Not much to say. Interesting loss by the Cardinals. They struggled yesterday as the pen blew it. But again, like I said at the start, these teams that are surprising are now starting to swing back one way and another way. But that's pretty much it, William. You want to go around the horn quickly? Just go through some scores quickly. I'll just run through them. Won't take that long.
Yeah.
Nationals won 2 out of 3 this weekend against the Mariners. James Wood had himself a weekend hitting a homer yesterday, and their Sunday win 10-1. Sunday night baseball, Texas and Boston. Boston won 2 out of 3. Texas. I want to do a deep dive on them soon. Texas is a really interesting roster. They won last night 6-4. Red Sox had a chance late last night, but the Rangers pen came and closed it as the Red Sox won the series. Marlins continued to say, what's up?
On that one, the Scottish fans are in Boston this week because they played Haiti on Saturday night, got their first World Cup win in a long, long time, maybe ever. And then they play again in Boston. So the Scottish fans came to Fenway Park in droves last night. Really cool to see.
Yep. Marlins continue to stay hot, winning 2 out of 3. They lost Saturday, breaking their 6-game winning streak. Jacob Misiorowski, I don't know if you have the clip up, had a crazy catch in center. Williams about to play right now on Jake Mangum. Bases are loaded, 2 outs, bottom of the 5th. Ball gets hit out to the gap to right center. Jacob Misiorowski, it's not loading there, well. I've just described it. Makes a crazy snag. Joe Mack hit a homer off of Paul Skeens, first ever off of his changeup. Skeens went 6 strong, 2 earned, 10 strikeouts. Max Meyer dueled him to 6 strong, 1 earned, 9 strikeouts. Padres won 2 out of 3 against Baltimore. Diamondbacks won 2 out of 3 against the Reds this weekend. Astros won 2 out of 3 against the Royals. And then the Cubs won 2 out of 3. Logan Webb was elite yesterday. 8 strong, 7 hits, 7 strikeouts, 0 earned runs. But PCA is proven to be one of the hotter hitters in baseball right now thus far. Yep. William, any takeaways off those series?
Yeah, I got Cubs 1-2 out of 3. They're playing a little bit better. They got Colorado coming home to Wrigley this weekend. The PCA haters they should be awfully quiet right about now. He's on the season. He's third in F4 at 3.5. And since May 13th, his numbers are incredible. It's 30 games, 134 plate appearances, essentially a full month of sample size. He leads baseball in F4. He's slashing 302, 388, and 578. His expected slug is 601. He has 8 home runs, a 966 OPS, 7 stolen bases, a 415 weighted on base average, a 169 WRC plus, and a 53.7% hard hit rate, all while playing elite defense in center field. He's reached base in 18 consecutive games with 14 extra base hits in that time frame. He's hitting 348 with 5 homers and a 1.099 OPS in 59 plate appearances as a leadoff hitter this season. Bar none, he is playing like one of the best players in the league, playing to the contract, arguably the best all-around outfielder in all of baseball right now. And look, he struggled a little bit out of the gate. This is an extremely scrutinized player because of the personality, because of the team he plays for. But the numbers back it up. This guy is legit. He is legit. He's one of the best outfielders in baseball right now. And there's really, unfortunately for the haters, there's no arguing it. He's a stud.
But all he plays is defense, William. That's why the F4 is inflated. I do believe a lot of the PCA hate is. I think a lot of it's the persona. I think like he kind of gives like that bad boy energy that he's like easy to hate.
Yeah.
In the sense, so I do feel like that goes into a big part. But that was the weekend in baseball, William. College World Series. We had Ole Miss, one of the top name, image, and likeness teams, get eliminated. Again, they went winless. Troy eliminates them. Troy got their first win in the College World Series this season. So there, Ole Miss is going home. I know you're tapped in with that program. You followed them quite a bit growing up. So I know you'll have some takeaways on that one. And then UNC is 2-0 after they beat West Virginia. Big 7th inning. West Virginia held on, but UNC came in the 7th inning and took it away. So we have that. I believe we have a couple games today.
Yep.
We have, I want to say it's Georgia, Texas, or Alabama, Texas. Again, it just sounds like another Saturday down south. Could have easily just done this at DKR or done it in Norman. So we got the winner's bracket is Oklahoma, Georgia tonight. And then we got Alabama, Texas. Just sounds like another day at Bryant-Denny, to be honest. But William, any takeaways on those?
Well, I picked Oklahoma to win. They've been really hot, so it's going to be a fun matchup with Georgia. Obviously, both teams are playing great baseball right now. That one's at 6 Central, 7 Eastern tonight. I still think Georgia's coming out of that side of the bracket. I picked West Virginia to come out on the other side of the bracket, but North Carolina is looking like the clear favorite. Obviously, you win the first 2 games in your bracket, you're in the driver's seat big time. UNC uniform game is elite, by the way. So I think West Virginia will beat Troy tomorrow, and then it's going to be tough for them to beat UNC twice. And whoever wins that Oklahoma game today against Georgia is in the driver's seat for bracket 2. And Texas, Alabama, both of those guys are fighting for their lives down there in the losers bracket, the 0-1 game.
I'm taking Texas.
I'm taking Texas too. I'm choosing Texas.
Choosing Texas? I can tell. No copyright, please. Have you seen Freddie? Have you seen Freddie? He's going to the concert here in a couple of days.
I have. One of the better stories of the summer, I think, so far. Just good vibes, World Cup vibes. That's what it's all about, man.
Somebody said, what if Freddie's just a guy from like Midwest or like Oklahoma who's just acting to be, as a propaganda guy for the United States?
Yeah, but now he's getting flown out by Ella Langley, and he, JJ Watt put him up into a nice place in Houston. I feel like he's got to be legitimately German.
Whatchamacallit? Sexy Red offered him to come to the show on Saturday.
Saw that.
Night.
He should. And they killed
San
Curacao.
San Diego FC also offered him tickets as well to go. They invited him out for the game. So
MLS?
Yeah.
I'm good. I'll pass.
Yeah, but
if I was him.
But that wraps it up, William. That wraps it up. We're an hour and 10 minutes in, William. that is it for the Locked In Baseball. Make sure you give us a follow on Twitter/X, Instagram, YouTube, trying to get up to 600 subscribers by the end of the season, and TikTok. For my dear friend out in Chicago, William, got a pod here Thursday night before I get boots on the ground this weekend out in New York. We'll be out at the Yankees game. Going to buy those tickets this soon. And going to be a madhouse out there. Don't know what to expect in New York. Yet again, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, enjoy that. We'll be in person next week going to Boston for the World Cup and Yankees, Red Sox, and Fenway. So should be a fun couple of weeks coming up here. Lots of baseball on the television, lots of World Cups. I hope you guys are enjoying that as well. Hope you guys all had a great weekend. And as Luis said, hit that sub button, hit that like button, hit a comment, whatever you got to do. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back on Thursday. Until then, catch you next time. Peace out.